Come on.
It's a daily occurrence I get asked, how's the market? Whether it's from friends or family, clients that I meet with, or even my mum. Everybody wants to know, how's the market? So in this episode of Hustle with Harry, we're going to touch on what the market. I don't think it's quite felt yet amongst buyers and sellers, but the market certainly is an interesting place to be at the moment. Recently, Hobart's gone through some amazing growth in all suburbs, but it's more recently in the past 6 months that we've seen the market change. Not in all suburbs, but there certainly is a general vibe which is worth touching on. The other interesting part to take into this equation is what is happening with other capital cities. You take a look at Sydney and Melbourne at the moment, things aren't so glamorous. And in previous times, we've certainly followed their trend. Don't get me wrong though, Tasmania is still one of the best performing states in the country right now. But certainly from my point of view, we are starting to see a slow shift in the market. Open home numbers aren't quite as strong. Multiple offers on property still happens, but not quite as common. And certainly inquiry numbers are down. And I wondered if these vibes could then be correlated to statistics. One suburb in particular though we looked into was Sandy Bay. Last year it grew 4.6%, which is good, but looking at previous years, almost 20%, it certainly has taken a hit. That growth also relates to days on market. In 2017, average days on market for Sandy Bay were 19. Last year, in 2018, days on market were 40. In reality, 40 days isn't so bad, but when you compare it to previous years, it does show the changes that are happening. And the same trend is following on the Eastern Shore too, with Bellerive and Tranmere. Tranmere's days on market from 2017 to 18 grew by 20 days, and Bellerive's days on market doubled. Surprisingly though, and welcome to Hobart's marketplace, Bellerive went up another 20% and Tranmere up another 10% in growth. The other two main municipalities, being Sorell and Kingston, also followed a similar trend, with days on market up slightly, however still recording respectable growth at 4.6% and 17.9% for Kingston. The figures we've just run through though are for houses, not other dwellings. Other dwellings are what we call townhouses, apartments, villas and units. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Broadly speaking on other dwellings, and again it depends on exactly which suburb you look into, however we have seen days on market decrease and some notable mentions for capital growth. That's Bellerive on 14%, North Hobart 27%, Lindisfarne 23%, and naturally with days on market decreasing, capital growth is strong. As we mentioned on other episodes of Hustle with Harry, we've seen buyers have to look further and further afield to find the right property within their new bracket. And that theme has continued, where buyers were looking in West Hobart, they're now out at West Moona. The buyers now for West Moona are looking in Glenorchy. The buyers in Glenorchy are now out to New Norfolk. It's a natural ripple effect of the market as buyers look in their appropriate price ranges. Some examples, Risdon Vale and Rokeby, two suburbs we touched on in our last episode. Their days on market have halved and capital growth is up 10 and 26%. I didn't want to read it, but I had to. Oak Downs, which is not far away, has also risen almost 11%. So to summarise, and my thoughts on the changing market, I certainly think that buyers are going to have to remain realistic in terms of the suburbs that they search for and consider being just a touch further out from the city than what they'd like in order to keep their mortgage somewhat realistic when banks are changing things due to interest rates where they are, the Royal Commission, what Sydney and Melbourne are up to. Hobart certainly has some challenging times ahead. That's not to say that it's going to drop, but it will certainly be a steady plateau, which is something we haven't seen for the last year, potentially 2 years. It's always been capital growth after capital growth. So what does this mean to you moving forward? Certainly if you're a vendor, selecting your agent is going to be more important than ever. Where in previous times, you could have put it on the market, made a few mistakes, and it still would have sold. It's in this changing market though, where mistakes will be penalised. Whether you start too high, you cut corners on marketing, the results will show. And when selecting your agent, they're certainly going to get hit with some tough questions. How long's it been on the market? Have you had any offers? And why doesn't anyone want to buy it? Your agent needs to know how to handle these objections to ensure a premium price. And for buyers, it should be easier to enter the marketplace with less inquiry, less inspections, less offers, not necessarily resulting in a lesser price or a bargain, but it should make it easier to enter the marketplace. I often get asked where to invest. Please do your own research, but my pick is on New Norfolk. If you look at capital growth in New Norfolk over the past few years, as well as days on market, there's certainly some untapped potential. So watch that space. So that's it for this episode of Hustle with Harry. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it somewhat interesting. A massive shout out to Audrey Coffee for the backdrop, and we'll catch you next time.